Making a Murderer,
Netflix
and chill.
Hello and welcome to Netflix and Chill, the segment where we binge watch Netflix programming and tell you what we think about it so you don't have to. Because sometimes you don't want to watch some of these programs. Trust me, they're not all good. And something we don't watch a lot of on Netflix is reality TV. But every once in a while, it's something you can throw on. And you know what? You just kind of, maybe it's in the background, or maybe you actually get into it. And Netflix has an interesting series that I put along the lines of almost like The Bachelor, almost like I don't know, more traditional reality television competition type things where you're competing against other people.
Or like a Big Brother.
Big Brother, yeah, Big Brother would be another one. That was what I was trying to think of. But there's a slight twist, right? Because there has to be a twist for it to be different. And we're talking about The Circle. Now, The Circle, you know, Big Brother sort of came about when webcams, right? It was all about webcams. People had webcams in their houses. You could watch somebody's webcam of their fish, whatever, right? Big Brother kind of came about from that whole thing. Well, now everybody's about social media, right? Everybody's about it. Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter and all this kind of stuff. And if you have any sense, you know that there's no way for you to know that the person on the other end is who they say they are. And maybe you heard about the movie called Catfish.
I saw that.
Or maybe you've heard of catfishing as a result of that whole pretending to be somebody you're not, or somebody pretending to be somebody you're not, and maybe you fall in love with this persona they've created, only to find out that that person doesn't even exist. Well, that's kind of the idea behind The Circle. You see, The Circle gets together a bunch of people, and they live in this kind of make-believe fairyland circle apartment building. And they move in, and then the only interaction they have is through The Circle, a sort of proprietary social media platform where they're the only people on it. They are the circle of people. And everybody makes a profile. Some of them make a profile that is true to themselves. Others make up profiles that are not them at all. Men play women, women play men. Two people play one person. Some people play their wives, other people, play their kids. It's all over the place. And then through this social media, through essentially texting, right, and group chatting, they try and get to the end to win the money. And they do so by essentially almost daily, somebody gets voted out. And then, of course, some new people come in. Interplay, whatever. They could be themselves. They could be catfishes. Nobody knows, right? Because all you see is a picture that they post for their profile and some information that they give. And then it's just the communication between them, right? And at first, I didn't think I was going to be too much into this, right? It seems stupid. I'm not into Big Brother.
No,
I'm not into The Bachelor.
I didn't watch any of them.
I'm not into any of those things, right? Survivor I kind of like, but I liked it because of the whole idea of the surviving portion. But when you take that out of the equation, you realize, well, these people were never really, well, shouldn't have been in too much harm. The competitions got repetitive, so I kind of lost interest in Survivor. So I'm not really big into those reality television type programs of this nature. But for some reason, The Circle kind of is interesting. Leslie really got into it.
I know, and I hate those things. But I got hooked, man. I got hooked. I was very surprised. Because then you find, I can't remember if it was like that in the first season where you had to wait for another episode or just the second.
No, I think there was a waiting period. Yeah.
Because, you're used to most of the things on Netflix. You could just go through the whole thing, right? And no, you couldn't. And I was just like, oh my God, I gotta wait till when now? What?
Yeah, we don't normally actually even watch any programs
That you have to wait.
That you have to wait.
Because I don't like to.
Right? And I, in general, when it comes to things, I will wait until that show is actually finished. Like, I'm just watching Game of Thrones now. Why? Because there's no more Game of Thrones coming. I won't have to wait. I don't like waiting. Even though I'm like, we technically are like the last generation that had to wait every week just for the next episode, right?
But you didn't know any different.
We didn't know any different, right? And it's one of the reasons why Netflix became so popular so fast. Because what would they do? They'd put up entire seasons of television shows. The entire show. You could binge watch and be like, oh, whatever, Friends or something, right? We've put the entire series of Friends on. Oh my God. I can binge watch that and watch the entire series. With Friends, it doesn't really make a difference, but say it's a show where every episode affects the one prior, before, and all that. So it's a long story. Well, when you gotta wait a week or more because, it's season finale and it's not going to be
I hated that.
a year, 6 months, depending on how they're running it, until you see the first one. Then my biggest problem was I'd get to the next season and be like, I don't remember what happened. And then you're just trying to play catch up. And yeah, they counted on it. A lot of people, what they would have is they'd have the previous seasons play for whatever, bunch of weekends or something like that, leading up to the season premiere. And yeah, sure, you could sit there all weekend on TNT or whatever, watching every episode of Stargate or something, just because the season premiere is coming on. But you know what? Who's got time for that? Really? So, yeah, we're not big into waiting. We had to wait with The Circle. And yet we still watched it.
Yeah.
Not only did we start it, but we continued to watch it. And it's odd.
Because I'd be like, oh, it's Wednesday. There's new episodes.
Of course, it's her account, so she will actually get an email saying there's new episodes of this show that you've been watching. Tune in, right? But yeah, it's funny. The Circle... It's not my type of show.
It's not my type of show.
It's not your type of show either. Though I'm beginning to think these are your type of shows. You just never watched any of the other ones.
Oh man, I got invested.
You did. But it's funny. She's getting invested in the people. Right? I'm getting invested in what's happening on this show and how it's playing out. Because nobody can see the other people. And, of course... The Circle comes on. This is the first season. We've never seen it before. We don't know what's happening, right? So, like, whenever when somebody got kicked out, we're like, oh, they're kicking people out. Okay, that's interesting. And then new people are brought in. We're like, what? Okay. So, it's one of those things. It's like, wow, this is an interesting format. How is this going to play out? So whenever they do things like two people playing one person, like, what? Okay, that's different. And just the different people and what they're playing is what I'm interested in. And you know what? There's a reason why we continued watching it. We watched the second season too. In fact, if there's a third season,
I can't wait.
we'll probably watch that as well. And it's odd. Yes, she gets into the people and the characters and all that kind of stuff and what they're saying and you know, everybody's just talking about tea. Everybody's saying tea. You know, spill the tea. They're dishing the dirt. Right? I don't even know how that saying came about.
I don't know.
But
yeah, I pay attention, and then it's like if there's somebody who I like, and then like if people are kind of ganging up on that person or whatever, then I'm like, oh no, that's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. And then, but if it's somebody I hate, I'm like, oh yes.
But it's so funny because, and I will give them credit for the editing in this programming. Because they make it seem like there's only like 8 or 9 texts or chats sent between these people every day. Yet you know that can't be. You're in a show where literally the only way to communicate is via chat and messaging, you know, private messaging. And the only way to win is to communicate with other people. So there's got to be a lot of communication going back and forth in this. But at the same time, they've edited it down to obviously the juicier parts. And it's also edited in a way where, because like we said, somebody gets voted off, right? Well, first people get voted on. Who's the most popular or something like that, right? Like everybody's given a rank.
Them.
You got to rank people. If there's 10 people, it's 1 to 10 or something like that, right? So you put them in the order of, you know, 1 being the one I like the most, and the bottom being who I like the least. And then the top persons then become what they call influencers, and by that they get to choose to get rid of somebody. So first off, you're like, through all of these interactions, you're trying to kind of guess, who likes who? Who's going to put people where, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so there's that aspect to it. I like trying to guess that. Then I also like to try and guess because they don't show you everybody how they, how they set everybody up.
And then somebody will get like way higher than you thought or way lower, and you're just
you're like,
what?
Huh?
How'd that
like
happen?
So they may show like one person giving a high result. It's kind of like in Survivor when they're doing the voting, right? Mm-hmm. You always have this idea of like, oh, okay, that person's going to vote you off, that person's going to vote you off, that person's going to save you, that person's going to save you. And then when it comes down to it, you're like, what? I thought you were safe. No, everybody voted you off?
Yeah.
Right?
You guys had a chat behind my back?
Right? Like there was obviously something not shown in the actual show, but that happened. It's similar to that. So first you get this rating, so you don't know what they've given to everybody. You may know what they've given up, to 3, 4, or even just one person. And so you're kind of guessing as to what the leaderboard's going to be. So first you're kind of thinking, okay, who are they going to vote for? What order are they going to put them in? For everybody. And then you're kind of guessing, well, then who's going to be in which section on the leaderboard? And then you get to guess, well, who do you think they're going to vote off then? Right? And it's often not who you think. Which is kind of one of the things I like about it. It's very unpredictable. And whether that's, I'm going to chalk it up to editing. Editing is what makes these type of shows really, really work. I'm surprised there isn't more backstabbing types, like really dirty things being said.
Well, I think there was more in the second one than the first, but I don't remember much about the first. But
I don't know. Maybe it's funny because part of the problem with not seeing you can't see somebody's face, right? So when somebody's texting, you know how it's hard to...
Yeah, you can take things completely different ways.
And it happens all the time, right? So part of the problem with the show is somebody can type in something and they're like, well, you're watching them type it. They're like all happy and all blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, you're seeing the other person get the message on the other side and they're going like, what? Seriously? I thought we were friends. But again, it's a matter of maybe it didn't come across just the right way, right?
I just love how, because you don't know who's who, and they're always like, I just find it funny if somebody's like, for sure, well, this person, they're real. For sure they're real
for sure.
And they're totally not, right? And I get a big kick out of that because obviously I know who they are, right? Well, you know because you're watching, but nobody else really knows, even if they suspect, you don't know for sure. And it's just hilarious, and like, the people who are pretending to be somebody else, like, to see them try and be this other person if they don't really, if they're just trying to go with it but they're not doing a very good job. Well, it's like, okay.
I get it. A lot of the time, a lot of the players are younger. But the one thing it drives me nuts is they're not there for very long. Like, at all. It's hard to figure out because who knows how this is shot. It could be all shot in one day for all we know. But it makes it seem like you're away for a week to, anywhere from a week to a month, we'll say. Right? And I only think it has to be, again, the miracle of television type thing. They do have sometimes where, they'll get letters from home or video messages from home, right? And everybody's like, oh, and it's like, how long have you been away, right? Like, because in my mind I'm thinking, okay, yes, it shows you going to sleep and you waking up and all this, but you could just be doing this all in one day. This whole show could be shot in one day, right? Like, it could be completely scripted for all we know. Could you imagine if it was?
If somebody knows something, you better not say anything.
Like, if I found out this show was like completely scripted right from day one, that everybody it's all just lines and it's not reality TV at all. Like, I mean, we all know that reality TV is, for a good portion, not really reality TV, right? Like, they aren't just let loose and able to do whatever they want. It's just not the way. There's coaching happening. But, yeah, it has to... One would think that some time passes, right? And I don't know. These young people, for some reason, it's like the guys and the girls are immediately going, I don't know this person on the other side, but I'm totally gonna get with them. It's just like, I'm falling in love with this person. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, you don't even know if that person is that sex, let alone that person at all. Mm-hmm. It could be a woman. It could be an old woman. It could be a senior citizen. Yeah. Right? It could be your sibling. There's no way to know. Could you
that would be good. Wow.
Why haven't they done that yet?
That'd be hilarious.
Holy crap, we just came up. Though they did have somebody who was related to somebody in the first season come into the second season.
But not against each other.
That'd be And they didn't let anybody know until after the fact, essentially.
Oh, that'd be really good.
Right? Yeah. Could you imagine? It's all siblings. They're all playing it up.
So, oh man, this guy's hot. That's your brother.
And of course, in that situation, you'd almost be like the producers have to make them both catfish.
Yeah,
because otherwise they would know exactly who that other person is, right? Oh my god! Or even just make everybody catfish. Like.
I like that there's some people who are actually themselves.
I get it too, but it's just there's so much stuff you can do with this show.
They've got to do something where it doesn't even have to be like siblings but it's people who already know each other somehow. Maybe they've worked together.
Who knows?
Maybe they dated previously.
Maybe, it's just stuff like that, right? Like, there's so many things you can do.
Because that'd be hilarious. You imagine there's a couple exes mixed in, and then they're talking to each other and be like, man, she was really bitchy. She sounds just like my ex or something. Like, oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
And it's so funny. And honestly, for them on the show, until they, because they reveal if they get voted off, they do a video message, so they actually say who they are and stuff like that. So At that point, yes, on the show, the person would know who they were. But up until then, all those jokes, all of that stuff would kind of be like just to the viewers, right? Like they would be the only ones who knew. And oh my God, that'd be okay. We want a portion of the money if that happens on any of the future seasons of Circle, man, because that is money, money. It's gold. And to show you, it's so weird. We keep saying that this is a show, and we've been talking endlessly about this, that we're not really into, but for some we are into the Circle. So much.
Yes.
Go for it.
So much so that when the season 2 was over, and then it came up that there's a Circle France.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak French. I hate reading subtitles of stuff because I want to pay attention to what's going on. So I'd rather not be like reading and because I want it up to speed. But I started watching the Circle France because I was just so into the other one, and I got into the freaking French one. I'm like, okay, whatever.
We haven't finished it.
No, because I think you are not into it like I am into it.
I'm not. Because for me, it's more of the high idea behind the show. So the French, it doesn't really add or to me. But she gets into it because, and there are some there are some really messed up characters on the French one.
Yeah.
Holy crap. If you are one of those people who, when you're watching reality TV, it's the characters and the people who are there, and that's what you get behind, and that's why you like it. Wow, The Circle France, season 1. Whoa. Like, it is, honestly, compared to The Circle US, they don't even have nearly the level of characters. Nowhere near. Which is odd. That's one of the things that I found weird was, especially Circle season 2, they brought in somebody from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Who had already been on another Netflix show, a Netflix reality TV show. Which we didn't watch, but apparently the girls had. Which they probably shouldn't have. But
Yeah, see, that's so funny because you get into it and I'm just like, oh my God, I hate this person. This person needs to go. I can't deal with this. I can't.
yes.
I can't.
Didn't like. Oh my God, she couldn't live without her.
Yeah.
But anyways, you don't know who we're talking about unless you've seen it, so.
And I'm not allowed to say anything ever because I give too much away.
Well.
You want to know who wins?
Yeah. See, I don't even really care who wins.
I did, man. Oh man, I was sitting there at the end of this season 2, and I'm just like, oh, but I want this person to win. And I'm like, just like, ah.
Well, it's funny because I usually find that the people who are at the end are not necessarily the people who I thought played the game the best.
Well, it's funny because you get the people who are doing a bit of a strategy, and then you get other people who are just not at all, and then they're just like wow, like what are they playing this like, like do they know what they're doing kind of thing? Because why are they doing that? I don't get it. And it's like because the one who I didn't like, she seemed for like most of the show, she wasn't. Like she would be like friends with people or whatever, but she was just going about, like, Whereas there's like that other person was like basically from right away strategy.
Well, yeah, there's some people who go in there and they're like, I'm gonna play a strategy. I'm gonna, and everything they do, they even talk about it. It's like, I think this person may be, going this way. I think this person may have an alliance here. So I'm gonna try and do this.
That would be you.
And that would be me.
I would not be like
and
that.
And then some other people are just like, what's up, people?
Yep.
Hey, look at me. I'm over here. This is what we're doing. Oh, you seem like a nice person. I don't like you.
That's me.
Whereas me, I'm like, I don't like that person. But you know what? I'm definitely going to make him my friend.
Meanwhile, they'd be like, they're blah, blah, blah wants to circle chat with you, Lesley. And I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah. She's like, do I have to accept
Seriously.
this?
Because I think I even commented at one time, do they have
Do
to
they have
agree
to?
it? Or can they say no?
Well, it's funny because, again, every time it's almost like Alexa, right? The circle is like Alexa or whatever, Google Assistant or such, whatever. Any of those voice assistant things.
See, and that's what I found very, very annoying when we first started watching the season 1, because it's like circle message, circle open this chat, circles, and they always have to
Circle
say everything,
except the...
right? And I found it really annoying, but then I guess I just got used to it. But
Yeah.
I didn't like that because it's annoying.
Because, yeah, it's exactly like, of course, we don't have one of those voice assistant things here. So it's not like we use it. So if we did, we probably wouldn't have a problem with it at all. It'd be like, yeah, just be like we're at home.
And I get why they're saying it, because then you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of just, okay, they click on something, it's like, okay, they say.
Yeah,
you
it's
know
not.
what's going on.
You have to, because you can't see what somebody's doing on a thing. So everything is,
Circle
voice
message.
to text.
How are you today? Blah, 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 blah.
Right? So it's the only way you could do it on television, whether it's an actual app that's doing it or not, irrelevant. I don't think it is.
No, I find it funny how they have to say the emoji, like, smiley face emoji, this blah, blah, blah. It's like,
or they could be like, I want the emoji about the cowboy who's riding the donkey who has the cactus up his butt. And you're like, what? And then it'll show up and you'll be like, oh, is that what that emoji is?
Start filming the idea that we had and give us the check.
Yeah, totally. You got to put people in there that they already know each other, siblings, exes, whatever,
Enemies.
mothers and daughters and fathers and whatever, like,
Mother-in-law.
mother-in-laws and stuff like that, and totally make it so that it's like, and you pick what the catfish is. See, most of the catfish and stuff like that, the people are bringing in those catfishes. So they'll play their husband if it's a woman, or maybe they'll play their son if it's an older person. Maybe they'll play their girlfriend or boyfriend, just to do a cross-gender type thing. But it's and I get it. That way you know them somewhat, so you can pretend to be them. But in reality, it's make-believe. It's just a character, right? So there's no reason why the producers couldn't supply the catfishes.
I'd be okay if they still chose it.
But they did supply the catfish in season 2 for one person. So it does kind of open it up in season 3. Mm-hmm. Remember, this idea we are giving you, it is money. Season 4 or 5, whatever. Do it. It's awesome. And this is such an easy concept. It's weird because we say Circle France. There are other circles. Mm-hmm. There are, other I think Circle Germany or something like that. Any sensual language that's out there, there's a circle for it.
Circle.
Yeah. That was the funny thing. Wow. We're kind of getting on a tangent, but when we watched the French one, they had to call it the circle. Yeah. It's not circle. French don't say circle. It's not a French word, right? It's cercle. But they kept, for the first portion of French, they kept having to say the circle or circle do this. And it was funny because I'm like, you would think they would just translate it to cercle. But then eventually they were just like, I'm just saying cercle because this, I don't know, this is stupid. So eventually everything was cercle, but whatever. But yeah, it's such a cheap thing to put together. Like, it's one of the reasons why you do reality TV. You make a set, you can put anybody in there. You can do whatever. Like, even if they flew people in from whatever countries, they flew them in from Spain, they flew them in from India, they flew them in from Japan into LA, it would be cheaper than shooting it in those countries. you already have the set. You just run it. Here you go. This month we're shooting stuff for France. This month we're shooting stuff for this country. This month we're shooting this stuff, or this week. Who the hell knows how long these things take? You know, and you just keep rolling through it, and it's like so easy, so easy. So, it's weird. I mean, you want to give The Circle a recommend, I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
Right? And I kind of want to, just because I think the concept behind it would be something you might get into. But if you're not...
You can't say if you're not into these.
I know, because neither of us are.
You cannot say that, and you have to give it a recommend, because I'm telling you, if I told you there's a new season out tomorrow, it'd be on.
But I don't necessarily need to watch the new season.
Yes, you do.
Okay, apparently I do. Because we need to make the money. But yeah, there was a twist in season 2. I won't get into it. That came in that wasn't in season 1. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think it was a big twist, and I didn't like the fact that it was only done once.
Yeah, I
thought it would happen again.
Uh-huh.
So it really was a stupid thing. Like, they created an entire new set and used it once.
Well, maybe it's the idea they wanted to see what happens and they'll use it.
Maybe. So, I don't know. I expect to see more. That's what I would be looking forward to in the next season. What different things are they doing? Right? Because that's what I like about The Circle. The fact that it's different and different things are happening and it's new and it's kind of fresh. It's not like any of those reality TV shows we've really had before. I mean, I'm sure there have been other ones, maybe even in other countries that we've not seen. Who knows? But I don't know. I'll give it a recommend. Check it out. If you don't really get into it, that's okay. It's not for everybody. But
I would say don't just watch like the very first episode and be
no,
like,
you definitely have to watch past the first episode. The first episode is a lot of introducing people. A lot of that. Which kind of makes it for the first person who gets voted off. It really sucks because nobody really gets to know them at all. And everybody says this, like it's always, whoa, I guess I didn't really get to know him. I'll put them at the bottom. Right? It's like, the only reason why the first person, well, normally gets voted off is they just don't talk to enough people. Right? And it's hard, because apparently you can only chat with 3 people based off of what we've seen in the show, but it's it's kind of disappointing because you do want to get to know these people a little bit more. So, but like I said, who knows? Maybe in the 3rd season they won't vote somebody off right away. Maybe they will keep them longer. Maybe they will add more people before voting people off. Who knows? Who knows? There's so many different things you can do with this and different twists and turns that can make it interesting and different every season.
I really liked season 2.
Right? So, and again, the wackier the contestants, the better off this program gets. So, English Circle. Get some better people. Like, France had some really good
I
ones.
couldn't believe that, man. I'm just like, what? What?
Like, not just people being catfishes and all this. People who are definite personalities. Like, there's something going on there. That would elevate your game. I'm just saying. That and the idea was... Why are we not the producers on this show?
It's such a good idea.
Anyways, comment down below. What are your thoughts on reality TV? Do you even think reality TV should be part of Netflix?
Yes, I do.
That's a question altogether, completely different thing, but maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, comment down below. Have you seen it? What you thought of it? Is it something you continue watching, or did you just not get into it? Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.